Welcome to my story time by mybooksummary.com. Get ready for quick wisdom of countless stories and explore. The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Holden Caulfield wasn't the kind of guy who fit in anywhere. Not at Pensy Prep, not at home, and certainly not in the world of phonies he despised so much. He was 16, tall for his age, with a streak of gray in his hair that made him look older, though deep down, he was just a confused kid trying to find a place where he belonged. The story starts with Holden standing on the edge, not just of failing out of school, but of something much bigger. He had just been kicked out of Pensy Prep, the latest in a long line of schools he couldn't bring himself to care about. It wasn't because he was dumb. No, Holden was smart, too smart, maybe, because he saw through people too easily. He saw the phoniness in the way people pretended to care, the way teachers acted like they were shaping young minds, but didn't actually give a damn. And he hated it. But as much as he hated Pensy, he wasn't exactly thrilled about going home and facing his parents. He had disappointed them enough times already. So instead of waiting for expulsion day, he decided to leave early. And not just leave, escape. That's how he found himself wandering through New York City, lost in his thoughts, looking for something, anything, that didn't feel fake. A world that doesn't make sense. New York at night was a whole different world. The streets were alive with neon signs, yellow taxis, and people who had no idea a 16-year-old kid was out there trying to make sense of life. Holden checked into a cheap hotel, the kind filled with weirdos and drunks, and tried to distract himself. He went down to the lounge, ordered a Coke, because he could pass for an adult, but not a drinker, and tried to strike up a conversation with some women. But like everything else, it felt forced. They giggled, they danced, and they didn't really care who he was. At one point, he ended up calling a girl he barely knew, just to see if she wanted to meet up. He was lonely, not in the I need a friend kind of way, but in the I need someone to understand me way. But she blew him off, and he was left wandering the city streets again, feeling more alone than ever. That's when he met Sunny, the prostitute. Holden didn't bring her up to his room because he wanted to sleep with her. He just wanted to talk, to feel something real. But she didn't get it. She was young, like him, but with eyes that had seen too much. When he changed his mind and told her to leave, she looked at him like he was crazy. Later that night, her pimp, Maurice, came knocking. When Holden refused to pay more than they had agreed, Maurice beat him up. Lying on the floor, bleeding, Holden imagined himself as some tragic movie hero, shot in the gut, staggering to his death. But of course, life wasn't a movie. He wasn't a hero. He was just a kid who didn't know where to go next. Phoebe, the only thing that made sense. Of all the people in Holden's life, the only one who truly mattered was Phoebe, his little sister. She was smart, funny, and didn't fall for any of the phoniness that swallowed up adults. In a way, she was the only pure thing left in his world. So, in the middle of the night, he sneaked into his family's apartment just to see her. Phoebe, half asleep, was both delighted and furious to see him. She figured out instantly that he had been kicked out of school, and unlike everyone else, she didn't sugarcoat it. "Daddy's going to kill you." But what mattered most was that she listened. When he told her he wanted to run away, to escape to a cabin somewhere and live alone, she called him out on his nonsense. "You don't like anything." That hit him harder than a punch from Maurice. Because deep down, he knew she was right. He had spent so much time hating everything, pushing people away, running from his problems, that he had forgotten how to actually live. Then she asked him what he wanted to do with his life. What dream did he have? And for the first time, Holden admitted it. "I want to be the catcher in the rye." He pictured himself standing in a field of rye, with kids playing near a cliff's edge. His job would be to catch them before they fell, before they lost their innocence, before they became phonies like everyone else. But he knew it was a dream. Nobody could stop people from falling. The final goodbye. Holden made one last attempt to say goodbye to the city before disappearing. He met his old teacher, Mr. Antolini, who tried to give him advice about life. But something about the conversation felt off. Maybe it was Holden's paranoia, or maybe it was real. But when he woke up to find Mr. Antolini patting his head in the middle of the night, he ran. By then, he was physically and emotionally exhausted. He had barely eaten, barely slept, and his mind was on the verge of collapse. He went to the park, where he watched little kids play and realized something. He couldn't run forever. And when Phoebe showed up with a suitcase, ready to run away with him, he finally understood that he couldn't take her with him. He couldn't be the catcher in the rye, no matter how much he wanted to be. So instead, he did something for her. He took her to the carousel. As she rode in circles, laughing, reaching for the golden ring, Holden sat on a bench in the rain, watching her. And for the first time in a long time, he felt something close to happiness. The end. But not really. Holden never tells us how his story ends. He only says he's in some kind of institution now, getting help, thinking about going back to school. But one thing is clear. Holden Caulfield is still searching for something real. And maybe, just maybe, one day he'll find it. Stay tuned for more enlightening content. Head over to www.mybooksummary.com. Don't forget to subscribe and share the magic with friends, and let's grow together through the power of books and interesting stories.